Welcome back to the podcast. I am in love with this topic today. I thought it was really interesting. So, the guides came in, funny enough, to talk about spirit guide communication. And this is something that is a topic so dear to my heart. I want people to feel empowered, understanding and having clarity in how they communicate with their own spirit guides and team. I think there is more misinformation out there in this world than there is good information. And one of the things, I've been speaking and communicating with my spirit guides since I was little, yet it wasn't obvious to me back then what it was. And I think that's a really important thing to note. One of the most important things to note about anything spiritual and energetic related is that it's going to feel very comfortable. It's going to feel like you, and it's almost going to feel as though it's what's always been there. I teach people how to be fluent in communicating with their spirit guides, and it's so thrilling and so fun for me to see someone go from I don't feel like I can talk to my spirit guides, and then they're coming to me saying, "Oh my gosh, my spirit guides are so funny. They said this, they did that." So the biggest thing about spirit guide communications, we all kind of like ground in right now. And for some of you, you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you feel comfortable talking to your spirit guides. This episode is coming forward at this time for a reason. There's a lot of clarity needed here on earth. There's a lot of groundedness needed and a lot of intentionality. One of the biggest things that's missing in our society right now is this real intentionality with the energy work that we're doing. It's not about, it's not just about the ritual. It's about how you feel when you do the ritual. It's not just about setting intentions. It's how you feel when you set the intention. So getting back to our spirit guide communication, one of the biggest things to note about them is they're already communicating with you. So even when I help guide someone to communicating with them regularly, it is not actually, not once do I ever show somebody something new. Not once do their spirit guides ever go, "Oh, now you're asking? Here we are. Oh, gosh, it's so funny that you're here." Now that you ask, we'll show up. So it's noticing that, when people communicate with their guides, they want a succinct clarity. They want to be able to pick up the phone and hear a voice on the other line that says, "Yes, I am your spirit guide." And that is in our human nature to want that security. It also shows that there's actually a distrust of self. And it also shows that we are not taking ourselves on our own spiritual journey. One of the craziest things about spirituality as a whole is that it is one of the most personal, private practices you'll ever do that's actually meant to help you be more calm, clear, and supportive in community. Isn't that funny? It's all this deep inner work so that as you show up, you're showing up with clarity, alignment, etc., more ability to help. So spirit guides are often going to sound like you, and they are not at all going to be a parent or a boss or a teacher who's telling you what to do. That's what we all want that. I'm going to raise my hand. Of course, that'd be amazing. Believe me, I'm chatting with my guides all the time and asking for, information, insights on things. And it's so funny how they can only give me what I'm ready for, and this is true across the board. And the same goes, in my private practice with clients. One of the other things that I've come to learn is that spirit will only deliver messages what the client is ready for and what I am prepared to hold as the practitioner. And there's been nuances of things I've noticed over the years where spirit will come through and with an insight or something, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, y'all have been holding on to that one." Oh, I'm ready now? Okay, great. The other thing is, you, specifically you, have a very deep sense of responsibility that when you are communicating with your spirit guides, you are extremely intentional about it. I'm not going to sugarcoat love and light things. I don't think I've been doing that too much, but what I'm coming to find is there is so much precision with each of our energy right now, and people need to have a greater understanding of what it is they're capable of. Because you're an incredibly powerful human being. And if you are not, this is not about, "Oh, you're doing it wrong." No, no, no. This is like, you're so powerful, you need to be very intentional about what you're communicating with. And a spirit guide is never going to guide you astray. And this is where people don't always feel this sense of trust or they start to doubt themselves is because they feel like they've gotten intuitive guidance that actually leads them in the direction that they don't want to go. And you and I have been given these life paths with options along the way of what we're meant to experience. It is your spirit guide's responsibility to help you walk those through those experiences and also avoid other ones that are not meant for you. They cannot control us. Sometimes they will come through to really kind of like hold things back, right? I think I've shared the example one time when I was a kid. I've shared this early on the podcast, but when I was a kid, and I was allowed to be like walk around the mall by myself. And I was with my mom, and we had this meeting point because it was pre-cell phones. And I was walking towards the food court, and it felt like an actual hand landed on my shoulder and said, "Stop and turn around immediately." And I paused. I've got like Hot Topic to my left and Foot Locker to my right. And I'm thinking, oh, who's going to see me just stop and randomly turn around, because at the time I cared about that kind of thing. And I did. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that my life would have ended very traumatically had I continued into that food court for whatever reason. I haven't asked questions why I tapped in. I don't need to know. That's only going to bog down my energy. Which brings me to another point. So, our guides are going to, yes, so we may be guided into other uncomfortable circumstances, right? Like, dating someone we thought was right and then turned it out to not be great, or, different types of career moves or whatever. But we only gain context in life when we are challenged like that. And this is a caveat, but the same is true for energy work. A lot of people fear the dark, and I think that's intelligent. I think you should have a healthy fear around the dark. At the same time, you cannot love and light your way through life. If you do not understand that there is negativity out there, you are never going to fully understand how to help yourself through the nuances of shadow work, help yourself through the nuances of when your energy's off, help yourself or help others when there's an energy that is just misaligned for you. You need to be intelligent about these things. You're intelligent about what you put in your body. You're intelligent about where you drive, where you go, what you say, what you do, and the same needs to be said for your energy. So it is okay if you have an experience that is somewhat challenging or somewhat negative, even in the spiritual or energetic world. That's where your chops are built. That's where you realize your power. That's where you realize your ethos. That's where you realize what you're capable of, what you're capable of in your light, mind you, right? Because you and I know we do not do energy work alone. Period. End of story. We don't. And so the whole inner light framework's about. So your spirit guides are not going to, if you also start to make decisions repeatedly over and over again that just don't feel good, they're not gonna, sure, they may say, look, home slice, you're laying in bed on a Sunday morning, a little too much vino, a little too much charcuterie board. We've all been there. We've all been there. Your guides are not going to sit there and go, and they're not going to negative talk you the way we've been built to negative talk ourselves. But what they are going to do is they're going to go, yeah, we know you want more. Yeah, well, can you love yourself through this? And that is one of the biggest lessons is spirit guides, as we continue to repeat old habits and build new ones and grow out of them, they will actually continue to teach you how to love yourself unconditionally through the challenges. That's one of their biggest purposes. The other thing about spirit guide communication is it's going to feel really fluid. It's going to feel really easy. So when my own spirit guides talk to me, it's not even like talking. It's not a voice. It's like a flow of information, and it feels light and it feels effervescent and it feels good. It feels encouraging. It feels smart. It feels funny. And it also there's always this warmth with it. And I will add, it often comes through the lower back part of my head. That is one main area for a lot of people. It's not the only area. And as you communicate with your guides, one of the things I encourage you to do is number one, be right and tight in whatever your own personal inner light framework is, period. People are getting really lackadaisical around this. And especially, throughout our human day, especially while we're doing energy work, just because we set the intention one time, we only communicate with our guides, does not mean that that counts for every single time. I wish it did, but it don't. And it's interesting because why is that? there can be so many different reasons why our energy feels a certain way. There can be so many different reasons why our energy is off or misaligned, or, the collective could be adding to the mix. So, knowing that you are only communicating with your spirit guides and going through your inner light framework for that is so powerful. It's so powerful. It's so intentional. And I think a lot of people they haven't had enough challenge with energy to realize the importance of it. I can't, I can't say, oh, people are lazy, because I think people are really tired. But to get yourself out of the tired, you've got to believe in yourself, and you've got to have some grit of self to get out of your tired and to get out of your whatever it is. Everybody has things that are ailing them. Everybody has, 18 different diagnoses to Tuesday. You've got to get a grip and look into the mirror and decide what you want for your life. And the same goes with energy work. You've got to really dig down deep and say, I'm going to be clear and aligned in my light. I'm only communicating with my guides, period, end of story. And anytime you need to revisit that, you revisit it. The other piece is I consistently have found spirit guides never bring attention onto themselves, period, end of story. It has never happened. It's never happened with me. It's never happened with a client session. It may happen one day. I'd be shocked if it did. If it did, it'd probably be a lesson for, me or a client. They are never focused on us. So if you ever have any energy that's trying to get your attention in a certain way, or brings the focus to them in some way, that's how you know it's not an energy that's actually of integrity. So, going to your spirit guides, I want to invite you to think about it as a conversation. Most people start off with spirit guides asking loaded questions. What's my purpose? Is this person my person? Will I ever XYZ? Those are loaded questions. And what we want to do is kind of treat the spirit guides relationship almost like you start dating someone. And that is, you're just getting to know them. You're talking about the little things, and then you bring into the big things, right? And then you kind of pull back up and start talking about the little things. Oh, and then we go through some challenging times. And communicating with your spirit guides is not dissimilar to, a partner, where you are going to go through times where you're like, hello, where are you? Or why didn't you warn me about this? Or whatever. They are 100% of the time always looking out for you. They cannot control you. And at the same time, if you ever feel as though they're not there, they're not communicating, it's actually because you're missing something, or you're asking something in a way that they cannot answer. So you want to find different ways to ask them. Or you are so tired or disillusioned or worn out that they're like, you need to take care of you, sis, before we can, get back into helping you move forward again. The other piece is, I personally consistently throughout my 13 years of this practice, formal practice, have found that there is a distinction between guides and team. And if I were to pinpoint that distinction, it would actually be that the guides, like the cornerstone, is your imminent well-being and purpose. And when I say purpose in life, I'm talking about all your purposes, right? To have a great garden, to go on that trip, to, learn about yourself around XYZ, okay? What it feels like with those spirit guides, with that aspect of spirit guides, is that it's like they're hovering around you, but in a healthy way. That's how I perceive it. That's what I see consistently. I also see spirit guides in the same realm with the spirit team members, but their vibration is simply different. And spirit team members have more of a, I almost want to say, like a looseness to them. That is in no way a negative thing. They're just not as energetically close to you. It's almost like they don't have the same imprint that your spirit guides do. Your spirit guides definitely have this particular imprint. I'm kind of laughing right now because they're giving me guidance on this, and I'm like, here I am talking about you guys in front of you. No, I'm just kidding. So, spirit team. The spirit team members, as we know, are some spirit team members stay our whole lives. Some come and go. Some come join us for one topic and leave. Some join us for a certain amount of time. And spirit team members are when we start to get more into things like gender with an energy, And what I'm talking about is the feminine energy versus the masculine energy and everything in between. And I have seen spirit team members come through who are completely neutral, completely masculine, completely feminine, everything in between. And they are specialists and they're there to help you with certain elements of your life. And keeping in mind, spirit team members are oftentimes not just helping you, they're helping other people who are going through similar things. Or they're helping, you and a best friend, or you and a family, or sometimes spirit team members will be holding, um, what's the word? It's like they hold a lesson. They hold a lesson and they hold that lesson in our energy field so that we can work our way through it. Back to spirit guides, back to it being more of a conversation, back to having have talk to them about how you should redecorate. Talk to them about, give me ideas, give me inspiration. Don't expect to hear back from them immediately. Sometimes you will, and then sometimes you won't. And allow the answers to come to you over time. Have that trust in yourself. Have that trust in your experience with them that you're going to get the answer in perfect timing for yourself. And as you practice with them in more of the mundane, you're going to become stronger in having deeper, more robust conversations with them about bigger topics in your life. For me, it has been so much training around how to navigate conversations with them in client sessions. And this is something that just it takes time. I teach this stuff in the Magic Accelerator, and at the same time, you have to apply it and experience it for yourself in order to really get it and also find your way with it, find your unique voice and method with it. I asked the guides just the other day, I said, because I look at folks who are, decades ahead of me in practice, right? Like, let's say in mediumship. And I can see those folks and how they have established their rapport with their guides. And if you hear how they talk about their experience, you can start to put the pieces together that for them too, it wasn't always clear at first. They've had to develop this language with them. And so I asked the guides, I go, how come it is that we have to kind of step by step learn how to communicate with you little by little? You have all the answers. You guys know how to communicate with us. This is on us. And they go, it's hard to fit such bright light information in such a little body. That was their answer. I was like, really? Obviously, we know that's multifaceted and there's many parts. But I thought that was so funny. And I said, well, that actually makes sense because the truth of the matter is, the higher you and I vibrationally align, the more fluid and flowing energy comes through us. And that includes information there. Also, the higher vibrational we are, the more we can be apt and ready to receive that information. And because we're actively going through those lessons, we are not always there. And that is a-okay. That is part of the human experience. And that is what I will leave us on too, is that the guides, it is so not about perfection. It's about the journey. They do not care that you fail. I cannot express that enough. They do not care that you fail. They do not care that it's taking you 182 tries to, do whatever it is you're trying to do in life. That is not what at all they care about. They care about how deep can they help you understand and love yourself? How much happiness can you bring for yourself throughout your journey? How can they help you? There's so many beautiful aspects, and the invitation here is to allow yourself to, like, I set the intention, I just open up and happily in a pleasurable way get to explore this communication and a greater experience with my spirit guides. How cool. Also imagine this communication being enjoyable, pleasurable, versus feeling like, okay, I'm up at the plate, what am I going to ask? Let it flow. Ask it anytime. And always, always be anchored in your light. Things are going to get really hot and spicy. You think they're hot and spicy now in this world? So do I. And believe me, I've had, my days with everything going on in the world, right? Like not even the hottest topics people are talking about. This goes deep. There's layers here. And at the end of the day, Truly, truly being anchored in your light and having that foundation is what's going to continue to bring you forward. It's what's going to continue to move the needle. It's what's going to keep you unmessed with. You will get messed with if you get lazy. You will. I'll raise my hand because I've done it. And time and time again, people sometimes I think people don't trust their own power. Sometimes I think people are afraid of their own power. I think people have so much fear that they would rather try shortcuts than actually anchor into their light. Be one of the brave ones. Anchor in regularly. It doesn't matter what I'm doing because I've been practicing this for so long. It's a natural rhythm for me, and yet I still, throughout my day, have moments of, where's my light at? What am I doing? Oh, you know what? I feel like I need a little extra divine protection. Or I'll be in the middle of a session. I'm like, I feel like I need to recenter and re-anchor into my light. Oh, you know what? It's been a hot minute and I want to have a intentional conversation with my spirit team or my ancestors or my guides again. Let me lock it in and go through my inner light framework. Whatever that framework is for you, I would not trust or work with anyone who doesn't have that practice energetically. Every single time I go to work with a practitioner, even if it's someone I've seen many times, I always check in. Is now a good time? Are they in alignment to work with me? Is it for my highest good that I sign up with them? So these are things I want to really invite you to think about and get excited about it. Get excited. This is not another thing to knock off of your to-do list. This is something that is going to bring you inspiration, insights, better sleep, make you more youthful on the inside and out, help you feel more calm, more empowered, and have even better decision-making tools at the helm as you continue to navigate life. And what a beautiful thing that is. Been so great to connect here. If this episode resonated with you, please be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who you want to have more of these chats with. And as you move throughout your day, remember, your energy is your superpower. As you pay attention to it and trust it, you can watch your entire life begin to transform.